Alright guys and girls, let's jump straight into it. As you head into the White House here, you're going to want to chuck a left and talk to Coop Dennison. The initial page will show you your skills. We'll get into that a little bit later. You're going to want to scroll across to the Perks tab. Right, so when you first fire this up, you're going to be forced to apply the weapon slot as your first upgrade. From here, I'd highly recommend doing the armor kits. You don't necessarily have to max it out, but one or two would be enough. This will just basically help you stay in the fight a bit longer as you start progressing through the early stories. As you can see there, they just increase your armor kits, so your total capacity of basically your healing ability in this in the game. Now, I'd also highly recommend upgrading the accolade perks very early. This will help the grind a lot, make the grind a lot easier. It'll help you progress a lot quicker. Because as you can see, they're all linked to bonus XP throughout the game. So the first one there is the headshot accolade, the multi-kill accolade, the weak points, tactical kills, and survivor. So all of these, as you are fighting it out through the through Washington and through the Dark Zone, it's going to be pouring in bonus XPs for all the said accolades there. Once you've done them, it's probably a good idea to also consider upgrading the deconstruction perk, as you're going to be deconstructing a lot of gear. A good one to also upgrade early on is the detection perk, as this will help you see lootable objects in the game a lot earlier and a lot easier. I would also recommend upgrading your inventory, just so you can hold a little bit more as you creep up towards the mid to late game. And just experiment. I mean, it's a good idea to kind of upgrade some of the mods like the mags and the grips and scopes, etc, etc. Again, totally up to you how you kind of play the middle game, but definitely do that one, followed by that one. Definitely drop that at least level 1. Also, on a side note, you can see here, so typically, or not necessarily typically, but a lot of the perks actually require different or cost different Shade Tech currencies. So you can see the stash one here is going to cost you 1 Shade Tech. However, something like the Field Proficiency Cash will cost you 5. While we're talking about the Field Proficiency Cash, I'd recommend, as you get closer to level 30, saving up for this, because this is a definite bonus to have. I mean, it gives you a 50% chance for a bonus item to drop when opening Field Proficiency Caches. Speaking of Field Proficiency Caches, as soon as you're awarded said cache, try and open it straight away, as these will not scale to your level as you level up. So they'll be locked to whatever level they're awarded at, and to maximize them, it's worth opening them straight away. Okay, boys and girls, let's talk about gear. Now, a question I often get asked is, what do I do with the blue and green pieces of gear? Early game, you shouldn't worry too much about them, as these will soon be replaced by purple and even gold or yellow items later on. However, it should be noted that even the blue and green gear have what are called a brand set. So the way brand sets work are, you have 3 tiers to the brand, if that makes sense. So you can see here on screen, I have unlocked 2 of 3, so that gives me a 7% damage to elites and a 15% armor percent on kill. Now the way you achieve 2 of 3 or 1 of 3 or all 3 of 3 is by getting the same brand equipped. So you can see I have the Badger's Tough backpack and the Badger Tough gloves. It's not super important to try and make the sets early on with such low tier gear, but it's worth playing around with the mechanic just to understand how it works for later on, when you can start collecting higher tier pieces, and then you can start creating much more efficient builds to specific tasks. Now you'll notice too on the pieces of gear, you have what are called attributes. So the attributes here are pretty plain. You've got the little symbol next to it. It's either blue, red, or yellow. I don't think I've got any yellow to show you, because my current build here, you'll see, has a high armor health with no skill power. Now I've kind of done that on purpose, because you'll notice my primary weapon has a talent on it called Preservation. So with Preservation, killing an enemy repairs 5% armor over 3 seconds. A headshot kill improves the repair. But this requires 5 or more of my armor tier here. So currently I've got the double Badger's Tough piece running, and then I've picked all my other pieces to get that armor bonus so that I can get that stat, if that makes sense. The way you adjust this is through swapping out bits of gear. So you'll see there, if I was to swap to this holster, for instance, it would give me more skilled power, which would give me a 7% cooldown reduction on my on the skills that I use. So this skill power directly correlates to your skills that you choose here. It will basically just decrease cooldown or increase the duration of the effect, and so on and so forth. Now, with your armor and health, so the armor is basically the little white bars you get above your player, that equates to armor obviously, and then underneath that the orange bar is your health bar. You can increase these as well through specific stats of gear, like so. So you can see there, this holster that I currently have gives me an armor increase as well as a 255 bonus in health. If I was to swap that with something else, I mean, you can see there already, if I was to swap with this, it would actually boost my armor and my health. Let's go ahead and do that. So you can see there, I've put a better piece on. I've kept my 5 armor rating, which still allows me to have my preservation skill active. So happy days. Hope that's as clear as mud. If not, be sure to drop a comment down below. I'll read over them and try and answer any queries you have best as possible. Now, how to actually obtain the shade caches, the best and easiest method, I believe it's the only method, is when you discover a new area, it's prudent to try and go straight to the safe house straight away. Once you're there, activate the computer there in the safe house, and that will update your map to let you know where each and every shade cache is in that territory.
Shade tech cache detected.
Site looks like it's in good condition.
Likewise, to find any skill upgrades on the mission itself, it'll have a tiny little yellow triangle icon telling you that you will be awarded a skill upgrade. So look out for those and get grinding. Okay, just some last minute tips before I sign out here. Combat in this game has actually had a decent revamp if any of you actually played the Division 1. The AI now try to flank and rush you. They're generally a lot smarter compared to Division 1 as mentioned earlier. So cover is your best friend in this game. Definitely try to stay in cover as often as possible. Don't be afraid to move around, however, and make use of the cover to cover mechanic. While you're performing that maneuver, you can reload your weapons. So that's a good little tip there. A lot of new players might not know that. It's also worth actually playing tactical with your team. So, you know, just watching each other's flanks, watching each other's armor and health. So if you're playing a bit more of a support character, be sure to drop a heal on your friend instead of hogging the healing drone for yourself. Also falling back when possible. You know, if you're starting to be rushed, don't be afraid to turn around, run back a bit. Organize with your team to run different roles. Now, as mentioned earlier, maybe run, say, 2 support and 2 offense builds. You know, you can do whatever you want. Obviously, play to your play style and advantages to further that. Comms are super important in this game, so be sure to have just clear comms and just enjoy it, guys. This is a super fun game. Not much more to say. Now, I know these are basic, and I know they sound obvious and generic, but they should help you to get started in the Division 2. I really enjoy trying to help out other players in the game, so, you know, if there's anything that you're struggling to understand or would like me to do a more in-depth video on, on any of the topics discussed earlier, please let me know in the comments below. I do read them. I'll try to help any one of you. No voice is too small or unheard. Anyway, guys, feel free to drop a like on this video just to help out other players. Let it know it helped you. Be sure to hit up any of my socials as well. Again, if you got any questions, I'm pretty active on Twitter. And yeah, feel free to join me when I do any of my live streams on Division 2 or Apex for that matter at my Twitch link down below. And take it easy, guys. Again, thank you.